Essential Room. Music, culture, conversation.
Waiting for him. I'm standing, I've literally just let Francis go and Creed's just let him go. My girlfriend's standing there, a load of other people were standing there. And the guy jumps over the barriers and shot him right in front of me, literally like closer than you are to me now.
Wow.
Shot him in the chest right in front of me. So I'd had a couple of drinks, say no more.
Yep.
And so had Creed. So what did we do?
Essential exclusive.
So welcome to another season of the Unspoken Word Podcast with myself, Shane. We're kicking off episode 1 with a banger, and believe you me, this one is a banger. This gentleman in the chair we've got today, he's been in the business now well over 30 years. His nights, I'm not even going to go into that right now because he's going to do the talking for us. It's an honour to have a legend in the chair today, Dominic Spreadlove. How are you?
You're making me blush.
How are we doing?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Good, good. And how's life treating you before we get stuck in?
Yeah, it's interesting being back in London. I haven't been back here. I haven't been back and spent any time in London. I've been back to the UK, of course, but not for since 2019. I spent a little bit of time in town, but yeah, back in East London. You know, I used to have a studio in Brick Lane, so I've been around East London. Stayed with my mates up in Clapton last night.
Yeah.
But I've been enjoying the weather down on the south coast in Brighton.
Yeah.
Where my sister lives. Been over here on a bit of a family get together, and it's been really nice catching up with some old mates.
And that's lovely, isn't it, when it's like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know why you're here today, here to talk about the unspoken words, some truths, and also your journey. We need to document that as well, Dominic. It's important that we do that today because, you know, you've come such a long way in what you've done for the scene. And it's important that we talk about that today. And it's an honour to have you here, as I mentioned at the start.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So let's get stuck in.
Okay.
Absolutely. So tell us a bit about yourself, siblings, your name, everything, family.
Yeah. So I've got a sister who I'm staying with in Brighton, in Worthing at the moment.
Yeah.
I was born in South London, 66 kid. Yeah. England won the World Cup that year.
Ah, look at that.
But moved into London later on in life and, you know, got into music. In the early 80s, which I left school. So that kind of always played a big part. My father I lived as a baby born above a record shop because my dad owned a record shop.
Oh, wow.
In the 60s.
Okay.
That was back in South London, a place called Wallington, which is near Croydon.
Wow.
Yeah,
right.
over in Wallington. So kind of born into it a little bit, you know. My dad was quite well known. He used to work for EMI. It was an EMI record shop, which turned into HMV. I believe.
Right. Yes.
I think I was right. So EMI, and my dad was quite well known because he bought a lot of singles because he liked certain records, and he got a lot of accolades for getting a couple of the Beatles records #1 because he sold so many copies of them when other shops sold out.
Wow.
And that didn't come from him; it came from someone else.
Someone else, right? Fair play.
Yeah.
That's a journey. Wow. Okay. So, what was life like growing up in those early years, growing up in Wallington, you mentioned?
Well, I grew up in Sutton, London Borough of Sutton.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very blessed, you know, suburban house, you know, suburban upbringing in me and my sister and my mum and dad, you know. And I know, in the work I do now, which we'll talk about later, I realise I'm blessed to have had the upbringing I had.
Yeah.
Many kids don't have dads, you know, don't have mums, or, you know, there's a lot of trauma in the world at the moment. So I'm very grateful for the upbringing I did have.
Oh, that's good.
You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Out playing in the park on my tracker, you know, handmade like bike. I get handlebars from one shop, and you know, as a young teenager, and Yeah, you know, I lived a really normal and very no trauma. Blessed, blessed to have no traumas in my life. No events that all the events of trauma in my life have been self-inflicted. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny you say that, because even myself growing up, it felt free. Summers were summers, winter were winter. You were carefree just to go out and play with your mates. Come in when it gets dark. And yeah, there was no social media, nothing.
No phones,
nothing.
Phone boxes, you know.
Yeah. Oh God, that's another
and how
story.
we got away with it, you know, it was you see the complete opposite these days, you know. And I've got a 15-year-old boy now in Australia, and like he's glued to his phone all the time, and his mother's like, he's got to have a phone so I know where he is. So, well, I didn't know where I was. Mum didn't know where I was. I just came home when I was told.
Exactly.
I did, and I got a clip round the ear. You know what I mean?
When you're late.
Yeah,
I know that. Thanks, Mum. Yeah, it was. So you mentioned 80s, sort of your love for the music. So I just wanted, before we touch back on that, how did you discover music for yourself, and what inspired you from there?
I tell you, there was a radio station, a pirate station called JFM.
Okay.
JFM, Jazz Funk Music. I think that's what it stood for.
Right.
And that was my earliest kind of interest in music, and it was in the days of SOS Band.
Yeah.
Terrible with names of artists. It's really.
Yeah.
But you know that genre of music.
You. Yeah. So sort of early 80s now we're talking.
Yeah. So it was a lot of American music. There was
Okay.
also a little bit of English influence, like mate, terrible. I can't remember the names of the bands, but there was a lot of good music around those days, and we used to go.
So let me help you out there. So was this early days of early Loose Ends?
Loose Ends. That's exactly what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. That's really intuitive, because that's exactly who I was trying to think of. So Loose Ends, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Now, where I lived in Sutton, there was an event called Carshalton Hall.
Right.
And Carshalton Hall was a Friday night, and we used to go there and listen to jazz funk. Carl Cox was the DJ.
No way.
Yeah. So Carl and me have had we've worked together a lot over the years.
Right.
He taught me how to DJ.
Whoa.
I used to run a night, and he was my resident DJ, but that's further down the line. So, so Carshalton Hall, and then JFM used to put on events, and they put on a thing called Doing It in the Park, and they'd have Doing It in the Park. That was the jingle for the advert for the event.
Right.
They had Eye Level playing. I don't know if you've ever heard of Eye Level.
No.
They were a British funk band. So Eye Level, Level 42.
Right, yeah.
They weren't there, but they were that kind of genre.
Yeah.
That kind of era. So that's my earliest interest, and I started buying records. I used to go to the local record shop in town and buy a couple of records every week. First 12-inch I ever bought was George Benson, Never Give Up on a Good Thing.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, that was the first 12-inch
Love that
I
record,
bought.
yes.
So I started collecting records, eventually got into hanging around with some boys. Used to drink in a pub with some boys and with some lads back in the day. Back in the football days, I was a Chelsea fan. So, yeah, down in the first station we get to was Malden Station to get on the Northern Line.
Yeah.
So there was a pub down there, and I was hanging around with a load of lads down there, most from Chelsea or Arsenal. And then one of them was a DJ.
Right.
And he used to do weddings.
Okay.
And I still laugh, say weddings and funerals. I don't really DJ funerals. But basically, I started going out DJing with him, and I'd take my records along and add them to his collection.
Right.
And then we used to do a Friday night at a club at Wimbledon, the old Wimbledon Football Club. We used to do a Friday night, I think it was called Kings, where I'd actually go up, and it was before I mixed, before I knew how to mix.
Right.
And I was playing Wham, I was playing George Benson, I was, pretty much anything goes. So that was the early days, and you couldn't mix them because there weren't 12 teams.
No, it's just sort of blending.
It was Citronic setup, you know.
Yeah.
Just like, But so I kind of got into it that way. And going on, I mean, I guess I slowly built my collection over and over, and I was a photographer. I used to work. I used to work in the darkroom, basically processing film, printing photographs for a company in Notting Hill Gate. And I work during the day. We used to listen to another radio. I can't for the life of me remember which station it was. It was Jasper the Vinyl Junkie and Jazzy M.
Right, okay, that's
Now,
another
Jazzy
name
M
of
years later
interest.
was resident of Ministry. Okay, so Jazzy's been there from the very beginning. And Jazzy M used to DJ at places in Surrey, at pubs in Surrey. They'd hold jazz funk nights. So it's before house music.
Okay.
And then one day I remember being in my studio, being in my photographic studio, at the radio playing. So it was always. I'm pretty sure it was Jasper the Vinyl Junkie show was 2 or 3 hours long in the day, and then it was Jazzy M's afterwards. And one day they had a guy came on. He was doing a show late, and he goes, "Look, I've just come back from America. There's a new sound coming out in America. It's going to take the world by storm. It's called house music."
Right.
I remember thinking, oh, it's interesting. And he played his first, and when his show came on, the track he played first, which was a house tune, was the Timex Social Club called Rumours. It's a bit obscure, but I mean, if you've been in it a long, long time, you know the track. And that was my first recollection of hearing a house track and knowing I was listening to one. But at the time, I was still going out. I still had long curly hair at the back, and I had, I was wearing silk ties, nice shirts, and like trousers and stuff. And I remember going to a couple of places. There's a new club opening in, wherever, and we go there. We went to one club and they were playing acid house. And there were all these people and they were all dressed up with smiley T-shirts on and dungarees. This is like 86, 87. Right. Little round glasses, and they were dancing to proper yeah. And they were doing this.
Crazy.
And I remember standing there with my silk tie on going, what's going on here?
So just go forward for a minute. So when you were introduced to your first house record, so is that similar year? So we're talking mid-80s now,
blur,
roughly.
It would have been late 80s, yeah.
At this point.
Because it goes on to, I went to Ibiza in 1987.
Right, okay.
For the first time.
Okay.
So the group of boys I was hanging around with, we used to go clubbing a lot. And then one of them said, come on, we got to go Ibiza. We'd been to Tenerife the year before. That was jazz funk. It was it was all music-based, club-based, and getting blind drunk.
Okay.
87, we went to Ibiza. And that was like when I was just getting into this house music scene, and it was like, wow. Because the music out there and the whole scene was so fresh. None of the nightclubs had roofs on them.
Right.
So Amnesia, for example,
love that venue. Yeah,
it was a ranch that they used in the daytime as a building warehouse storage place because they do a lot, keep everything outside because the weather's good. And it was a walled ranch. They used to keep animals in years and years ago. They turned it into like just a couple of bars. Had three or four bars in there. And they used to play music at night. And they started a night in there way before I got there. They started playing what we now know as Balearic beats. And Alfredo was the resident DJ.
All right,
and
Alfredo.
Yeah. And and back then it was the summer of love. It was pre-summer, it's 1987, so it was the very onset. And I was a fairly clean living boy back in the days. I'd never smoked and I drunk a little bit, but I was training to be a professional boxer. I was just about to go for my pro licence. It was 1987.
Wow.
And I went to Ibiza and one of my mates talked me into taking an E. And that kind of changed my life because it fitted with the music, and the next year with the Summer of Love, and it was very much a cultural thing. I don't recommend anyone does that.
Yeah.
But it was a big thing back then. And it, as I say, very, very much a part of the music. And the music they were playing Rolling Stones. They were playing Mandy Davis. And they were playing such a mixture of music that it's created a genre of music in its own, which the kind of Terry Farley and those boys went with back in the day. And the Boys' Own lot, Yeah. And it was just an amazing, amazing time. 87 in Ibiza,
So it seems like, and it's interesting you say that, because 87 seems to be this sort of crossover period now where this Balearic beats now crosses over into the UK, and this becomes a thing now going into the early 88, 89.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
88 was when they started 88 was the Summer of Love. That was all the M25 parties.
Right.
So then you started getting big events held in warehouses, like my friend Wayne, who started Spreadlove with me.
Yeah.
He was running Genesis. So Genesis were probably the first parties local, very local to where we are today.
Yeah.
He was running him and Andy Pritchard were running Genesis together back in the day, which was, as I say, was one of the first acid house parties. And then, of course, at the same time, you had Tony Costellator and you had Energy and Sunrise, and then you had all the other parties that were dotted around the M25, and they'd find a field, pull into a field with a sound system on the side, roll the sound down, and then you'd have like 10,000 people dancing in the field till Sunday afternoon. Crazy. Amazing. So the music then was crossing over. You'd have, and even then things started to split. You'd have other parties that were more Balearic based. So although it did blend together for a while, the more four to the floor sound and the New York sound, and you Lenny, what was his name? Lenny the Ice. No, not Lenny the Ice. Sorry, that's the wrong one. I can't think of his name now. There was a lot of American DJs, and then you had obviously Adamski, and you had Guru Josh, and all of those kind of sounds, which is very getting into the more of a techno kind of hardcore sound. Yeah. But it was beautiful because it was such a mixture of different kinds of music.
Why was, and I know you kind of touched on it, but why was 88, 89, both Summer of Love so important in those years? What was so different about each year?
What you've got to remember is at the time there was a lot of unrest in the country. There was a lot of football hooliganism in the early 80s. Yeah. Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, people would go and smash the living daylights out of each other on the terraces and get drunk.
Right.
And then that carried on into the nightclubs. The nightclubs, although there was a lot of in the dance nightclubs, you still got a little bit of drunk alcohol-related violence. And it was a cultural thing. It was the E generation. E's came into the thing and it fitted with the music. Right. So that you have to take that into consideration. You have to understand that changed. And what I saw, and I remember witnessing this, on a Monday night at Spectrum at Heaven, which was the Acid House Church. It was Carl Cox, Paul Oakenfold, Colin Hard, Trevor Fung. That was where they were breaking new tunes. That let's play this. This will work in a club. It's not a dance track, but let's play it. Yeah. You'd have upstairs. You'd have Futures next door, which was Terry Farley, the Boys' Own lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this was happening, and I remember the front door of Heaven. The main guy on the front door was Stephen Maisie, and he was a Chelsea fan. Okay. And he was a Chelsea football boy, as a lot of them were. But all the top boys from all the Chelsea, West Ham, Arsenal,
all the firms
would all come down, and they'd all be friendly to each other. They'd been smashing living daylights out of each other on a Saturday afternoon. On a Monday, they were all loved up. It was a game changer.
And music brought everyone together.
Music and unfortunately the drugs with it. It made people dance. And it really changed things. And maybe it needed to change because they've used MDMA in many, many experiments, and it's even legal in Australia with certain practitioners to help remove depression. Wow. Because used correctly in a clinical setting. So, you've got to understand alcohol is legal because there's a lot of money in it. But more people get damaged by alcohol than they do Class A drugs, some Class A drugs. So, again, it's a touchy subject, but it's an important subject you have to address. Absolutely. Because at the time, as I say, I was about to turn pro as a boxer. I was sparring weekly with professionals, just going through to get my licence. Yeah. I went to Ibiza and I took 1E, came back all loved up. Oh my God, and I got into the music. The music was like it took my life over. Yeah. I left photography, started promoting the night. And if we can get into that, I started running a Sunday night at a club in South London in Streatham called Ziggy's. Which is Streatham's near Brixton, for those that maybe don't know. But so Sunday night was my night. It's funny, Sunday nights have always been my night. And I ran it with a guy called Dave, and Dave used to run Crazy Club. Right. Crazy Club was at the Astoria, and it was at Busby's. They used to do the Limelight on a Sunday night. Saturday night they did the Astoria. Okay. And I think Sunday afternoon they did Busby's. Right. So they ran the biggest thing at the time. It was packed. Right. So Dave was my partner at Ziggy's, actually before he got into working with the Crazy Club guys. Yeah. And Ziggy's, Carl Cox was my resident DJ. So he was playing at all the M25 parties.
Is as well.
So we got his number and he came down. He drove from Brighton every Sunday night to Streatham to play for 2 hours for me for 50 quid.
Look at that dedication.
And I used to play after him sometimes and sometimes before, but if I was playing after, Carl would teach me. I would basically learn off Carl. He used to give me little tips and stuff. And that's how I really got into DJing. That's how I kind of used my record collection. You know, I'm going to start playing. And yeah. And that branched off into a lot of things because what Carl taught me was how to mix. He gave me a few tips in my ear while I was DJing. Years down the line, which we can talk about later, I wrote a book called Teach Mix.
Oh.
Teach Mix came with 2 vinyls. And on the vinyls were beats with a count over the top.
Okay.
On one. On the other one was bars with a count over the top. So it was 1, 2, 3. So beat, you know, drum beat, 2, 3, 4. And the other one was 1, 2, without a count, beats with bar 1, bar 2. When you put them together, if you get them right, you can hear bar 1, 2, 3, 4, bar 2, 2, 3, 4. When I took it to Carl, I took it to his house. Right. I said, Carl, I've got something, I want you to put your name on it. Years later, I said, pretend you've just bought this. And off he wandered into his studio. We're sitting in his living room having a cup of coffee. He came out, he went, fuck me, Dominic, you've cracked it. Put my name on it. Brilliant. So I wrote a book called Teach Mix. I did it, and I noticed on the table there, you may want to jump the gun a bit, I was asked to teach Nigel Benn, who was a kind of good mate of mine.
Oh.
I was asked to teach Nigel Benn by a very good friend of his called Ray, who was a bit of a face on the West End scene. We want to learn how to DJ, will you? Because he was coming to all my nights. Now, I met Nigel many years before in photography because I used to work for one of the top photographic sporting agencies in London. And he was coming for a photo shoot. And the guy that was doing the photo shoot knew I was boxing because at the time I was training to be a pro. Yeah. And he knew I was a fan of Nigel Benn because I was always cutting things out of newspapers and stuff like that. Yeah. And I did the assistance. I assisted on the shoot with Nigel. And at the end of the shoot, I've got a picture with Nigel with a fist on my chin, standing there like that. So that was it. And then years later, I bumped into him in the toilets in a club. I went, Nigel, do you remember me? Yeah. And we became friends. And then he started coming to my nights. Oh. So years later, I taught Nigel how to DJ by plugging 2 sets of headphones into a double socket.
That's right.
And into one, so he could hear what I was doing.
Right.
And I was counting over the top to say 1, 2, 3, 4, bar 1. And I had this idea. I could do that on a record. And I wrote Teach Mix. I taught Martin Offiah, the most famous rugby player, you know Martin Offiah?
Yeah.
Chariots?
Yeah.
I taught Martin how to DJ.
Wow.
I taught Angelica Bell from BBC how to DJ. I taught one of the Big Brother winners how to DJ. I've taught loads of people how to DJ, you know.
Yeah.
But off the back of Teach Mix. It sold quite well. Yeah. We did quite, but it's everything's digital. Everything's gone digital now.
This is a flyer. This one's from a Christmas special, December night. I believe this is 95. So this is
wow, yeah.
So,
at the Country Club.
Yeah.
Was that Epping or was that Middlesex and Hearts Country
This
Club?
One's Chigwell.
Yeah, Epping Forest Country Club.
Yeah,
I was resident DJ there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of history with Nigel Benn as well. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We'll learn something new today on the Unspoken Word Podcast, of course. Going to go back a little bit before we go forward. So I know there's a couple of things we've touched on. Yeah. So you mentioned sort of late 80s, sort of early 90s being that transitional period where Carl Cox is teaching you now to mix DJ. Pirate stations, were they, with the sounds of the acid, the rave now, were there any pirate stations at this point that were popular at the time?
Yeah.
So
now, when you went to a rave back then, I mean, I don't know if anyone here is old enough to remember them, but in the M25 raves, you would get a flyer and there'd be a phone number on the flyer. Okay, so you go to a phone box.
Okay.
And then you'd listen to a certain radio station. So on the night of the rave, you'd go and get the address from going to a phone box, getting the address, and then listen to the pirate station giving directions. and you'd have convoys of cars driving to the raves. So the main pirate station that I remember back in the day was Centreforce.
Okay.
So it was one of the originals, you know, it really was. There was also Flex.
Centreforce, what year we're talking now?
87, 88, as far
That
as I
early?
remember. Oh, yeah. They were there back in the day, mate. Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know Andy then.
Okay.
But, you know, Centreforce stands for ICF.
Of course.
You know?
Yep.
So it was those boys, and they were putting on a lot of parties. And
Okay.
they were doing not dungeons. They were doing, there's the one by the Bow flyover just round the corner on the left. So if you go over the flyover, there's a club underneath the flyover. And I can't, for the Reflections or...
I'm not sure.
Yeah, anyway,
Okay, yeah.
long time ago. It's probably a warehouse or something now, do you know what I mean?
So many things
So yeah,
changed.
there was a lot. There were other pirate stations around. I can't remember many of the names of them. There was a guy called Foxy that he ran a pirate station as well.
Okay.
The two that I've worked on most were what was the one that there was House FM and London Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah, London Underground. That was Mikey Sherps.
Yes,
it goes
it
back
was.
to '95. Yeah,
Yeah.
But he now owns House FM.
Yeah. So we had Ramsey on
Okay.
on episode season 1.
Yeah.
When Ramsey sort of talked us through how that project come together as well. And London.
So funny.
It's funny.
Pirates. I mean, I did one. I did London Underground. We had met Mikey Sherp somewhere, me and Creed.
Yeah.
And we'd been out for like 3 days in a row or something, so we were a bit pickled. And we met Andy. Sorry, we met Mikey.
Mikey, yeah.
And Mikey took us to this housing block, and then we went up and went into this. It was all new to me.
Yeah.
And they had to set the decks up then and there in someone's kitchen.
Yep.
You know, on a draining board. And it's like, yeah, me and Chris we will laugh at anything. We'll find the funny side of anything. Yeah. But we had a good laugh that day.
In the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
In
yeah.
the kitchen. Right. I'm going to move forward a little bit.
Okay.
So we move into the early 90s.
Yeah.
Ministry of Sounds opened their doors for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this was the period where after parties become a thing. So just talk us through Ministry of Sound and why after parties were such a big thing in sort of 90, 91 too, to you.
Yeah. Ruling was the Saturday night.
Okay.
Resident DJ was Frankie Fonsett, one of my close, good pals.
Okay.
And also CJ McIntosh, Jazzy M, they were DJs.
Yeah.
They DJed there. And they started bringing in the big guns from like the Tony Humphreys and the Little Louis Vegas and stuff. So that was where everyone, you know, wherever I was DJing on a Saturday night, we'd all end up in there late, just to you know, dance till 6 o'clock in the morning, because there was nowhere else to really open that late, I don't think, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
There were a few things. And then one day, I remember distinctly coming out of one of the big nights down there, and there was a big crew of us, you know, a big group of us, all loads of hangers on, and there was a little core of us that, you know, where we were, there was the party. And we ended up walking around the corner from the Elephant, and there was from the ministry, and there was a pub, and it wasn't the Elephant and Castle. It was called, I can't remember the name of the pub, it was just a pub, and a guy had been in the ministry, he was the landlord, so he said, I'll open up the pub, we'll just have a party in there.
Oh.
So someone had some decks, so they set decks up in there, and we just had a little party in there. Down the line, someone thought, that's a good idea, everyone comes out of the ministry, so they opened the Elephant and Castle, Timmy Ramjam.
Right,
Paul
yeah.
Nelson and Timmy Ramjam.
Right, yeah.
And the other guy, I forget his name now. So that was how that started. So they carrying on raving, you know, it was like we go. I've done over the years, I've done parties on a Sunday morning, not off the back of the ministry, but just because people were looking to go out or stay out from a Saturday night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've always been doing things on a Sunday. Sunday's been a big part of my promotional history. And but the Frog and Night, Elephant and Castle ran for a while. Then Gerard started the Frog and Nightgown.
Okay.
Which was kind of a direct continuation from the Elephant and Castle pub. Right. There was also the Charlie Chaplin was. I can't remember why they did so. I think maybe they had to stop doing it at the Elephant because it was a bit in your face.
Right.
You know, windows all the way around. It wasn't very quiet. And yeah, pubs have always been a good thing on a Sunday morning. Yeah. I used to run a night, going back in time a bit.
Yeah.
When they first started going to 6 a.m. finishes in London, when they first gave licences to clubs to shut at 6, Legends. Now, was it Legends or the Astoria? The Astoria used to go, this is like 88, 89 maybe.
Okay.
The clubs used to go, the clubs, they did it alternate weeks. 1 week they'd shut at 3, then the next week they'd shut at 6 to try it out. So I started running a club, an after party, and we'd get bin liners and we'd sellotape all the windows up, and it was a pub on the corner. I can't remember the name of the pub now, but it was on the corner as you drive up Tottenham Court Road.
Yeah.
As you get to, before you get to the highway, to the main road at the end, just on the left there was a pub on the corner. My friend owned it.
Okay.
So we basically blacked all the windows out.
Okay.
And we opened a club in there on a Sunday morning. And on the first night we did it, packed it out, really good. We had loads of all the people, all the faces with all the jungle DJs in there from the Astoria. And it was it had a mezzanine ceiling around it. And so like a split level roof. And it was fitted out with old church fittings, like old church pews and stuff like that. I was DJing. I was DJing on the bar in the corner. And I kept hearing someone ringing a bell, ding, and there was a big church bell hanging that was like chained up in the ceiling, all safe and secure. And MC50, Rodney, was hanging off the thing. Sorry, was hanging off the balcony, and he was basically he found a ruler or stick or something, and he was hitting the bell in time with the music, right? And I was thinking, oh, what's that coming from? Anyway, didn't think anything of it, and all of a sudden, in front of me, I thought a fight broke out, right? This guy's collapsed on the floor. What's happened? Rodney, bless him, has hit the bell. The bell's so old, it was corroded. Yeah. The bottom lip of the bell, it cracked where it was vibrating. And the bottom half of the bell, it's big, it's quite a big bell. Yeah. Fell and hit this guy and glanced off the top of his head. Ooh. Knocked him out. And obviously closed the party down. And the guy's name, it was a funny story, his name was Andy Bell.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the police came because they thought there'd been an event in there. Yeah. And someone said, oh, well, they have a special chime squad. Anyway, it's just an old memory, but that was one of my earliest Sunday parties. You know, and it got shut down the first week.
But Andy Bell didn't come back again.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God. Well,
but so going back to Sunday, so that's how the scene started on a Sunday later on. After the ministry, everyone piled out, Elephant and Castle, then the Frog and Nightgown. Frog and Nightgown was, what a place.
Yeah.
It was, there was literally sweat dripping off the walls, couldn't move. You could almost lift your feet off the ground, but you'd be held up by the crowd. Yeah. It was me and Norris were residents.
Okay.
We did that. I can't remember that. Probably been a good year or so.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, one day, we were finishing in there. A big crowd of us had been going since Legends on a Saturday. Yeah. And one of the doormen from Legends had come with us, and he got a bit drunk. He couldn't handle his drink, and he was causing trouble in there because he's a doorman, and he was pissed, and he was like, and he'd upset some guys in there. And those guys were on holiday from Jamaica. Let me just put it that way.
Okay.
So he'd upset some people in there. Anyway, at the end of the night, he's causing trouble. So me and Dave Courtney, have you heard of Dave Courtney?
Yes.
Me and Dave Courtney and Creed have got him. Come on, Francis, leave him. He wanted to fight the doorman on the way out of the Frog and Nightgown. Right. So we calmed him down and we walked him along the Old Kent Road, and we got to the corner, and all our lot were waiting. Where are we going now? What's on next? Right. They were waiting on the corner by a little library on the corner. And what happened was, unfortunately, the people that were upset in the club were Jamaican lads, and they basically were waiting for him. I'm standing, I've literally just let Francis go, and Creed's just let him go. My girlfriend's standing there, a load of other people were standing there, and the guy jumps over the barriers and shot him right in front of me, literally like closer than you are to me now. Wow. Shot him in the chest right in front of me. So I'd had a couple of drinks, say no more. Yep. And so had Creed. So what did we do? We chased the guy with the gun across the Old Kent Road.
Wow.
Yeah, and he shot at us and then drove off in a getaway car. And obviously the Frog and Nightgown didn't go on after that. As far as I remember, I think it stopped after that. So, those kind of events are unfortunate in clubland where you get, But interesting story all the same.
Absolutely, yeah. Going back, talking about Creed, How did you meet Creed and Norris, if we can combine both in one?
Norris I met in the early 90s because Norris used to run a club next door to the Busby's club next to Story and Busby's. There was a whole complex.
Yeah.
There was a little club, and I can't think of what it was called now, but he used to run a night called Yum Yum. It was a house night. He wasn't the DJ then. He loved music. He collected his records.
Yeah.
And his resident DJ was Smoking Joe.
Okay.
Norris gave Smoking Joe her first gigs.
Right.
So, he was a game changer, Yeah. And I used to go down. I think I played there a couple of times, but that's how I got to know Norris.
Okay.
And his sister Rose.
Yes.
And, we became friends and we went out a lot together and partied a lot. And at the time I was DJing with Alex P everywhere. It was me and Alex P at Epping Forest Country Club. And Creed, many years later actually, Creed I met one day. I was DJing in a club called Lacey's,
Right.
which is in Shaftesbury Avenue.
Yeah.
And I put this record on. It was really dark in Lacey's. It was really old 70s, like done out of mirrors everywhere. And people used to often walk across in front of the DJ stand and then walk straight to a mirror thinking it carried on. You used to see it all the time. Literally, the wall of mirror, they just walk into the mirror. Anyway, I put this record on and it was like, it was the days of Italian house, hip house. No, not hip house. No, more. Italian house, bit of techno, bit of like soulful house, like house days, house music days.
Yeah.
And this, I can hear this rapping on the record I'm playing. I'm thinking, I put the wrong side on. That's not like me. I normally stick a sticker on so I get the right mix.
Yeah.
Anyway, come around. I've looked in the corner and he's sitting in the corner on the mic, and he's sitting with dark glasses on because he had something wrong with his eye at the time.
Okay.
And he was going, we're doing it again. And I'm like, oh, wow. And that's how we met. I was like, oi. Because I'd met him previously.
Right.
And it was like, he was quite famous for some little scraps he had back in the day, to say no more.
Okay.
And we just became good mates and we hit it off and, that's how we met. And in the end, he was working at a lot of the clubs I was playing at. We made my second track I ever made. We made a track together, which was One Nation by Ego Zero, which is still available. I think it's still on Discogs and stuff. Yeah. And we did the rest is history. I mean, I think what happened, I started the Sunday at the Gas, and
which we'll come on to.
Yeah, we'll come on to, and he started MCing with me there every week.
Okay.
I had a little bit of an issue with my partner who was running it with me, and he didn't really want an MC because there wasn't really MCs around then. But I said, no, come on, you got to do it, and that's how we went. But I'll save that for later.
Well, absolutely. Just before we touch on the Spreadlove Project, 92-3, very key period in for many words the genre of music as a whole. Music was changing this period. So you've got your drum and bass constantly changing. Yeah, absolutely. So you have your drum and bass, early drum and bass, hardcore, the rave sound, but this garage house is now creeping in more. So it's starting to become popular. Were you playing some of these records as well at this point, or was this later on? Or
when I was running my Friday night for those flyers there, the Spreadlove Project, it was deep house and garage, and I was playing obscure B-sides, deep, tracks that may have been mainstream house tracks, and I was playing the dirty B-sides.
Okay,
that's how it came about. I was playing a bit of vocal stuff. I was playing a bit of, like older stuff as well, like a bit of early 80s, early 90s stuff as well. I was mixing it all together. Yeah. And a bit of soulful stuff, but it was always deep. Okay. So I would say at the time of starting, for instance, the Gas, it was deep house and garage. I mean, I don't know. Have a look on that flyer. Yeah. It might even say the type of music we're playing. I can't remember. Let's have a quick look.
So for the flyer that Dominic's looking at, that's one of the first Spreadlove flyers, of course.
Yeah, so I did this with Wayne and Norris and Joybringers, Norris Windross, DJ Dominic. So I wasn't called Dominic Spreadlove then, which is another story. Yeah. And Norris Windross wasn't called Norris the Boss Windross because I named him Norris the Boss. Oh. Mucking around one day in a club on a mic, I said, don't make him cross because he's Norris the Boss Windross. And it stuck, and someone stuck him on a flyer as Norris the Boss Windross.
Wow.
So that was my fault. And then Richie Fingers, love Richie. But yeah, it doesn't say the actual type of music, I guess. But it was what I'd like to say is deep house and garage. And garage in them days was kind of the New Jersey garage sound, you know, the kind of vocal gospel-y.
Yeah.
But
So
nothing
like
to do-
Disciple, Kerry Chandler, Smack Production.
And there were
Must Work,
obscure B-sides of those. So that's what I was playing. I wasn't playing the vocally stuff. Every now and again I would.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm trying to think of some names. Merc Records. All that kind of stuff, you know.
Merc, yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Together. That was reminds me of Norris because we used to love that tune. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah, I mean, I've got a terrible memory. I was never a big one on the names of records because I used to flick through.
Yeah.
Most of them were white labels. And I'd stick stickers on or I'd scribble something on them. That's how I remembered.
Strictly Rhythm, one of the big
Oh,
labels.
mate, I had that many Strictly Rhythm. You know,
Yeah.
I had a whole shelf of them at one point. But, I mean, Essence, Morel's Grooves. I mean, so many classic Strictly tracks. And it's funny because a lot of genres that played house, like you've got the more kind of Paul Oakenfold house scene. Like the Saturday's funny because one of my best mates, Jerry Drew, he used to run the Saturday night at the Gas Club. At the same time, it overlapped quite a lot. At the same time, I was running the Sunday night. We never knew each other back then.
Okay.
Jerry lives in Australia, in Sydney now. He's one of my good mates.
Yeah.
And basically, I'm talking about this because the sound, I know for a fact that they were playing some of the tracks we were playing on a Sunday, but I was maybe playing it a bit faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they were plodding along, you know, like, which is nice, you know. Like, but it's funny how, it's funny you'll get that a lot with, there was also the tech house scene with Terry Francis and the what was it called? Girls FM lot, which was a big house station.
Yeah.
With oh God, some of the DJs on there, forgotten, but Nathan Lockett. No, not Nathan Lockett. No, that's all. He's the garage DJ. He'll come to me.
Yep, that's fine.
So I know that they were playing a lot of the same tracks that we were playing. So it's funny how a track will cross genre or cross genre of clubs rather than genre of music because it just covered all the bases, you know.
Bases, yeah. So we've just had a look at one of the first flyers of the Spreadlove Project. So going forward, so you were called DJ Dominic. How did the Spreadlove name come about?
Because eventually we started off calling the gas on a Sunday because when I took the gas off, I took the gas over from a guy that was having trouble with someone else, causing a bit of trouble at his night because his night was affecting their night.
Oh.
They were running a night called Relish.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you sure you know what that is?
Yeah.
And apparently he was getting a bit of grief because this guy had started the gas club on a Sunday night.
Okay.
People stopped going to Relish when it was at, that's that club, that old, with the ballroom and the balcony around the outside. What's it called? It's not a night. It's a nightclub, but it's been there for many, many years. They used to do tea dances there. It's like the royal family used to go there. But anyway, so he used to do Sunday afternoons there, and every club has its time, and then something else will come along, or there'll be an event comes along. So, but he wasn't happy about it. Apparently, he was giving him a bit of grief. So, I knew the owner of the gas well, Tim, because I was running the Friday, and I said, Tim, let me take over. Okay. So I just took the night off him. Got Andy Swallow. I said, Andy, look, I think I've got a good little earner here.
Okay.
Will you come in with me and you do the door and I'll sort, you know, and I'll do the music.
Okay.
So didn't quite work out like that because obviously Andy wants some input, running some game changing record labels and radio stations. So we started the Sunday and we called it Independence Day.
Oh, okay.
That's how it started for the first few months, and then we renamed it the Spreadlove Project. So I checked with Wayne, who thought of the name. I said, Wayne, do you mind if I use it for the Sundays? He goes, no, of course not. So we started running it every week, and then bit by bit, I'd get a phone call from a gig. Are you Dominic? What, Dominic Spreadlove? And then they started putting me on the flyer, along with Norris the Boss Windross.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it just came in. I didn't name myself that. I wouldn't be doing that, Dominic Spreadlove, get that, but it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. And do you have any fond memories of the Spreadlove Project?
Not many. Loads. And
Tell
what
us
I remember was it's hard to remember things from back in those days for some strange reason.
Any particular night, any sets you did that went down you can remember that you thought, actually, know what?
I've got being funny.
Yeah, a little while back.
I was in the zone then. You know, I could not wait to get on.
Right,
I was on form back then. I'd smashed it every. I don't think I had a bad set. I don't know. Maybe I did, but
no, not from what I could do.
Yeah, from the ones we recorded. We recorded it every week because we had a tape machine there, and we had some great nights. But I mean, what it was down there was the fact that everybody was there to dance. You had some rough sides in there. You had all the doormen from all the other clubs used to end up in there, like Frog and Nightgown. Arches, they'd all end up in there. Yeah, it was where everyone congregated, you know. And luckily, we never had any trouble. One incident in there that was some trouble, which was really bad, but it happened before the club got busy. But we had just amazing. Every single Sunday was packed, but it was also we got so many stars going down there. We used to have all the DJs. Frankie Fonsett used to go down there when he was doing Ruling on a Saturday. He'd come down because everyone heard this is game changing. They're mixing all different kinds of music together. It's a totally new sound. So Frankie Fonsett, I used to have Kenny Ken, Nigel Jumping Jack Frost, good friend of mine.
Carl Tough Enough?
Groove Rider, Carl Brown. No, when coming down to listen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
But Carl and I used to have Carl playing. Norris was my resident every other week. I think he played. I had Steve Flight and Daryl B were my warm-ups. You know, they warmed up every week, or one or the other of them. Yeah. Hermit was my resident, and me, and I used to play the last set every week. Yeah. But and we had off of EastEnders in there. We used to have we had Ice-T in there. We had Steve McFadden. What's his name? Phil Mitchell. Yeah. England team. Wow. So we had some mad people in there. Mad.
Todd Terry, another name?
Todd Terry was in there. Yeah, we had a few American DJs came down there. And Todd Terry, actually, so it's a funny story. Todd Terry came down there and I was like, Todd, it's a pleasure to have you in here, mate. And he goes, oh, my God. And I was having a chat with him. Hermit was playing.
Oh dear.
It's like they say, yeah, we're playing the other sides of the tracks that you're playing at the Saturday on the, you know. Yeah. Todd's amazing because he plays he can play his own records all night. Yeah. So and I remember him going, it's kind of like it's like speed garage. And then he did an interview in DJ Mag, I think it was, and he named it in there, and that's where that kind of speed garage genre. That's the first time I saw it. Maybe someone else made it. I don't know. But that's where because we were +8. Well, Hermit was +8 in everything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it worked.
Yeah,
you know?
That was what it was. Yeah.
And it was that deep pumping bassline sound with not much else going on, but mixing it and having Creed on the mic. Yeah. And Alistair, Rap Attack.
Yes, because I noticed there was another host.
Rap Attack. Alistair was he was a character, a lovely fella. Yeah. But I just used to take the mickey out of him all the time. You know? So we were a bit cheeky back in the day, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Just going to move forward a little bit with that. Why did the Spreadlove Project ended in the end? Sort of because the UK garage scene was sort of 96, 45. Let me get it right. 96, 7. So the house and garage scene was now becoming more popular, and Spreadlove Project sort of just in its own thing just sort of faded off. Why was that?
Right, there was a reason, a very big reason. We were running every single Sunday. We were getting queues every single week. It was mobbed. There was it didn't ever peter out. I think we had one slow night. Okay. And then one day, the club contacted us and said, we just had the police onto us. They said, unless we change the clientele, we're going to stop the night. We don't want you doing the night anymore. I was like, what? So we had an emergency meeting with the club. And this is 3 years solid we've been running. Yeah. So we tried to do something to try and maybe keep some of the ruffians out. But what they said was, on Sunday night, Monday mornings, we have more car crime and more this, that and the other around, which is bullshit. Yeah. They just didn't like the fact that there were some heavy people in there. Okay? Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. They didn't like the fact that's where they went. they keep tabs on people like that, and there was some naughty people in there, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
And basically, that's part of Clubland. It's part of Clubland, unfortunately. Well, you know, they weren't doing anyone. We had one incident in there which was quite scary, but I won't go into that.
Yeah, I understand.
But basically, so we did one night, and the next week said, no, it's not enough. They're still not happy. They want us to stop the night. So we were like, what? Oh, my God. So what are we going to do? So I found another venue.
Right.
Xenons used to be in Piccadilly.
Right.
Okay. So we went there. We spoke to the club. They'd just done the place up. We told them what we were doing. We want to do it till 6 o'clock Monday morning. And we've been running for 3 years. They said, great, let's do it. We did the flyer. We started promoting it. And then the police found out we were moving it.
Okay.
And they flopped on the club and said, if you let these people in, we're going to take your licence away. So the club cancelled us. I then went and had a meeting with the head of clubs and vice at West End Central Police Station, Charing Cross, to find out why. And they said, look, and again, he told me this story that said, like, on the Sunday night, we have so much car crime and people getting done for drink driving. You're the only place open on a Sunday night till 6 a.m. So we don't want you. It was an excuse. There was no car crime. People
bad.
weren't breaking into cars unless there were people that knew we were in the club and they were breaking into their cars.
Yeah.
There was the NCP car park next to the gas club, and that club that was interesting on the Monday morning because you get people coming out of the club and getting changed and going straight to work. After like that. so there'd be some funny scenes people going to a lot of people working in the city falling asleep on their desks at work, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And so as I say, but going back to that, I had this meeting with the player and he said, no, you're not doing it, we don't want you in the West End,
Right.
your crowd's, you know, too rough.
That's bad.
So but it's funny because almost simultaneously after that, Twice as Nice started.
Yes.
With Steve Gordon.
Yes.
And he smashed it. He absolutely smashed it. So, you know, everything has its day. At the time, I was like, oh, my God, you know, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
And it was funny. So Twice as Nice ran for years. I think it ran for about 3 years, maybe more. I'm not sure.
A little while.
Yeah. But they had an event which, as you know, they had a massive fighting event in there that spilled out into the club, and there was a car chase and guns were being and I think the same reason that we got stopped, because it's still London, it's still central London. I don't know, but I would imagine that they were looking for any excuse, and they worked with the press and they shut down the whole of the UK garage scene countrywide. And I remember I was playing house then. I kind of drifted away because I was a bit disillusioned by some of the nights that I was going to. You know, there was a lot of unsocial drugs being used in the clubs, inside the clubs. And you'd walk in and it wasn't what it was. It wasn't like the gas club. It wasn't like that. People were there to dance.
And you'd seen that change from...
Well, I was DJing all the time. I was still DJing and the music changed. It all went two-step.
Yeah.
It all went big, like, I love Brass Toothies from Croydon, you know, but, you know, that big bass line, which is great. But instead of having one track every now and again, it was all like that.
Yeah.
And it went very, very ghetto. It reminded me of the jungle scene because I was in that. I was resident at Roast.
Yeah.
Before I was playing garage, you know, I was resident DJ at Roast, and later on I just see the flyer down there.
Flyer there, yeah.
So I played at the first ever Roast, which was at Turnmills. That was in 1990.
90 or 91?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So I played at their first Sunday at Turnmills, and I was playing for those boys for a long time. Everton and Kingsley, good friends of mine.
Yeah.
And the boys and that. And basically, so the whole change of what was the UK garage, deep house and garage scene turned into the two-step, you know, baseline team. And then you got the whole thing of, you know, the whole grime thing down the line and all that. But changed it. It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I fitted in. I didn't want to play some of the music I was playing. And I slowly drifted away from it. And I guess promoters noticed I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah.
But I started playing on House FM and started DJing a lot of other parties. And I ran the boat part. I forgot about that. God, it's another. I ran the yacht club.
Right.
On the Embankment.
Yeah.
On a Sunday, again, Sunday party, started at 6 a.m.
Wow.
And I packed it every single Sunday for one whole year. We had sun I think there was one year where Sun came out every Sunday and the boat was packed. And that was house music.
Yeah.
No MCs, you know.
Just music.
Just dance music.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people from the Gas Club used to go there. So it was like
a reunion.
big big, you know, circle. People came back.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting turnaround. So
yeah. We're going to need to move a little bit more of the podcast a little bit to bring it towards an end. Just before I do that, obviously you did some productions.
Yeah.
So just briefly, just talk us through some of the work that you may have done, some of the project with Danny J.
Yeah, so I did a lot of
Lewis?
remixes. I did a lot of remixes. I did a lot of production, but I didn't really put loads of stuff out. I had my own label, Spreadlove Records. A few tracks did okay.
Okay.
I worked with 51st Management, who were managing Tough Jam, because 50. I know the guys really well. They're good friends of mine.
Yeah.
They got me a lot of remixes. They did Daniel J. Lewis remix, which was mine. I did all the programming on the drums on that. I worked with Mark Yardley from Stanton Warriors. He was my engineer.
Good. Yeah.
But he's my partner. I don't like, you know, there's a lot of, I'm not going to mention names, a lot of DJ producers out there that used to use the same, there was a few engineers around and they never mentioned their names.
Okay.
You know, and I made a point of putting their names first.
Yeah.
You know, because I felt, you know, I couldn't have done it without them and maybe they couldn't have done it without me.
Exactly.
I had a studio in Brick Lane.
Okay.
Stone's Throw Studios, and that was where we did all the music. But Daniel J. Lewis, Best Friend, that was a big club tune. I still play that. If I play tomorrow, I'll still play that because it drops. And
I remember well.
Yeah, and Danny loved it. He was like, that is the nuts, you know.
Yeah.
I remixed We Are E for Lenny D. Ice.
Oh, you done a mix as well?
I remixed that for him because he said, Dominic's got to do it, you know. Yeah. Dominic's got to do it. I did, probably the best one was George Michael, Outside. I remixed the house version of that. And that went to number 2 in the charts.
Don't tell my partner that, because shout out to Sophie, right?
So that and that was the garage mix. And George rang me up. He goes, Dominic, the track sounds fucking excellent. I love it. You can hear him playing it in the background in his studio. Yeah. So that was really good. That came through a friend. Wow. So I did a lot of remix work and did well with it, you know. And in the end, I got rid of the studio. Yeah. But and I've got some fond memories of my production days. You know, there
was another one as well. Eric Benet.
Yeah, Georgie Porgy.
Big one.
Yeah, that was really good as well. That was two-step. That was proper two-step.
Yeah,
you know, that was in
another one.
Yeah, there was another one, Kavanagh. Yeah. Remember that guy, Kavanagh?
Yeah.
And there's probably a few others. But, another one was, what was it called? Dave Beer. From he was a promoter in Manchester. Okay. There was another track anyway. Yeah, there's quite a few good times.
Some good times. Just before we bring the podcast to an end, I just wanted you to take some time to reflect on Jason Kay and Mr. Blake, who've passed away recently. Just to offer some words about, you know, your relationship with those guys working in those early days, and if you want to just have a word or two to say.
Jason, I worked with Top Buzz a few times. Yeah. But there was a big crew of them. They were like the early version of So Solid crews, you know what I mean? They were a big crew, travel around everywhere. In the acid house days, the rave days, I wasn't well known. It was just me and my driver. So I didn't get to know him then. But down the line, obviously, started getting into the garage scene. Yeah. Jason was a gentleman. Yeah. He always was. Always a lovely gentleman. Did a bit of business outside. He bought one. I had a mastering company cutting dub plates in Brick Lane. I used to have a company called Stone's Throw. What's it called? No, I had two companies, Dub Vibes, and then I bought out of that and bought into another one. So basically, we had a cutting room where we would cut and you'd have people queuing up.
Yeah, I
come out of the studio. Yeah. And I ended up selling the machine to Jason, but unfortunately, it was just when everything started to go digital, so he shelved it. But he was a gentleman, a real gentleman, and his music was amazing. He was a seamless professional DJing. Yeah. And the scene lost a lot without him. Yeah. And Blakey was a lovely fella. Yeah. And I've got to say, I used to give Blakey a bit of an hard time back in the day because there weren't any other garage MCs, and he came along. So like he'd get the mic off Creed, and I'd wait for him. I was just to muck around. He'd go to finish the end of
Is one of his...
of a verse, and I'd turn it down, and he'd be looking at me going. I was a bit cheeky back then. Do you know what I mean? It was like, but I did it in good faith, you know, good nature. But yeah, and it's such a shame the way but he was such a gentleman as well, and he really wanted to give and help other people towards the end because he kept it quiet, you know, what was going on with him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just before we bring into our essential fun fact questions, what made you move to Australia?
I had a 15-year-old son. I've got a 15-year-old son who was 3 at the time.
Yep.
His mum's Australian. He was born in Australia,
Yep.
and we broke up, and he needed a dad.
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision because I had a year without him, and it nearly broke me because when you have a child, you know, you've changed your life. You have to commit to that child, and there are many kids, as I say, don't have their dads around, and I was having sleepless nights worrying about, you know, what he must think and how it's going to affect his life. So I sold everything. I moved over there and basically landed and didn't know how I was going to stay. I had no idea, and ended up studying, which is what I do now. I'm an Ayurveda practitioner. Ayurveda's like the oldest, most complete health system according to the World Health Organization, holistic health system. Which is holistic, basic meaning it's preventative health. And, you know, I got into natural health because I had a very challenging, excessive lifestyle for many, many years, and it started to affect my life. So when I got to Australia, I had to study to stay there, and I'm now a qualified practitioner. So I'm licensed to diagnose and treat disease.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Your journey has come many ways, and look what you're doing now. And, you know, I just want to say thank you for, first of all, being here today, showing some of the unspoken words of your journey, and keep up with what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know, it's really honoured to have you on the chair today.
Cool.
Is there anything we should be looking out for in 2026?
Well, I was meant to be DJing next month over here, but I've had a little bit of a setback with a family member.
Okay.
Which made me having to come here in July instead of August. Yeah. I was planning to come back with my son, and I had a gig planned with a good old friend of mine, Rufus, who runs night. I can't for the life of me remember the name of the night, but basically it was going to be at the old what's that club under the arches in Notting Hill Gate?
It'll come
Can't
back
remember,
to me,
but he has a big party every year after Carnival.
Okay.
And he booked me in Creed, and I can't make it now. So, but yeah, I mean, I will come back if the money's right and if the event's right. You know, I've got to enjoy what I'm doing now.
Absolutely,
I've got to make it well. I'm not just going to come back and play in a bar somewhere where they're all eating, or you know, if I want to come back, I want to do it. And the last time I played at the Spreadlove Festival, and that was that was really really fun because I played the main set. Yeah, and Creed was emceeing. Great.
Like how it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right. Before we wrap up the podcast, we normally ask our guests 3 questions. Okay. I know. Don't worry, you'll be all right. No particular order. Yeah. If you could have dinner with one celebrity, who would it be?
Wow. I could have dinner with one celebrity. Does it have to be alive?
Alive or not with us no more?
Who do I admire? My gosh, you've got me there. There's so many. I could just pick one out of a hat. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay. Right.
Just because his football was amazing.
Okay, of course, yeah.
But he's a good fella. Yeah. He does a lot of good in the world. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I guess there's a lot he could teach me.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good one. As you live in Australia, if ITV offered you a chance to go on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, would you go on?
No.
Would you not?
Not a chance. No. Actually, it's funny. The land I'm on, they actually filmed a bit of it on there because I live on 3,500 acres. I've got a share. It's like a multiple share company. Yeah. And they did a lot of filming there just for us because they filmed they make it look like it's all in one place. It's not. They film different bits in different places.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, very recently they had to relay all the roads to get all the film crew in to film it.
Yeah, because it's that
like
time.
half a mile from where I live.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
All right, one more. Name me 3 tracks that you wouldn't leave your house without for a DJ set.
We Are E.
Okay.
Lolita. Cocaine.
Yeah. Big tune.
Yeah.
That was a Spreadlove.
That was a Spreadlove.
Yeah.
And Reach for the Sky.
Big up Richard. Yeah.
Richard Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel that gave that soulful vibe back to the UK garage scene, you know, or that deep house and garage scene.
Yeah.
And you know, that track for me, that was like I think it was 1990 that came out. It was Frankie Valentine.
Yeah. But 91 too,
Yeah,
I believe.
Frankie Valentine, totally away from that. But you know, that was a classic gas track. You know? Yeah.
I'm glad you said those 3. That's actually some really 3 good records you've picked there. Yeah. So not saying you would have picked anything different, but We Are Here, of course.
I pulled it out of the bag.
Yeah. Oh, of course, absolutely. Dominic, it's a pleasure having you on the Unspoken Word podcast. Thank you so much. And of course, there'll be many more episodes on season 2 to look forward to. So do remember to like, share, subscribe to the platform, share the podcast, let everyone know about it. We're also available on the audio streaming platform for those who didn't know that, but we're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, all of the other audio platform as well, so you can listen to an audio version of this podcast as well. And thank you again for your ears and your time on this episode. Thank you for many more. Thank you.